It's really good to be here. Thank you to Andy for inviting us to speak today. I've been working with Iris we're trying to work this out in the break. I think it's the best part of a decade. It might be a little bit more than that. When we first had our first Iris kit delivered to school, and we were just going to have a play and see how it developed. So nearly 10 years later, we're really pleased to be here. We have scripted this for us today. This is just, we've only got half an hour to try and explain to you our kind of context and our journey as we've got here today. So we're going to stick to our script so that we can make sure that we deliver the key messages to you. And then hopefully there'll be time for questions at the end. Our slides are merely prompts for us to tell our story so that we'll try to be as engaging as possible. And the main theme that we've agreed to draw out is the challenges that we faced as a school and schools and as a trust, and we've evolved to where we are today, and as with all things, we are continuing to evolve as Hales Valley and Iris connect into the mind-boggling world of AI. So there we go. Hales Valley Trust is a multi-academy trust located in Dudley, as you've already heard, which is in the West Midlands, comprises of 7 primary schools, each ranging from 1 to 3 form entry, including nurseries. And we serve a diverse range of communities with varying levels of deprivation. But as has already been said, we strive to ensure that every student receives an equality of opportunities, regardless of their socio-economic background. So in this presentation, we will explore how Hales Valley Trust has successfully created a shared language and growing consistency of teaching quality across its diverse schools. So this achievement addresses common challenges faced by many educational institutions and will hopefully, and this is what we aim to do, offer some valuable insights for our community. So to give context to our words today, and I'll just say this now and I talk for everybody online, shout out to all of our supportive colleagues from Hales Valley who have jumped on this morning, and I think to give us a bit of moral support, but just elevates the nerve levels a little bit as well. We're happy for our notes that we've created to be shared, because I know I've seen a few comments about the slides on the screen, so they're just a prompt for us, but we will share our notes as well. So we created a case study with Iris Connect, and we're going to share that with you today because it will help you understand kind of our journey so far. The 4-minute video will do a much better job of showing our journey to that point. The only caveat to say that is in the video it was 5 schools and we're now 7, and it will hopefully also share our approach to coaching and how we've linked that with Iris, which will show you where we are and where we're headed next.
Hales Valley is an all-primary multi-academy trust in Dudley in the West Midlands. We have 5 primary schools and 2 further schools who work in a trust partnership with us. The communities that we serve are very diverse. They're a mixture of affluent and disadvantaged families, and that includes a wide range of ethnicities and those from a variety of religious backgrounds.
And we feel that no matter the colour of the uniform within our trust, that children should experience proficient or better teaching as a result of our professional development approach.
And that's where Iris has come in. Iris has allowed us to develop a coaching culture across our trust where staff are in control of their own professional development, and we're able to provide bespoke personal development linked to that teacher rubrics. That has been really important because we needed staff to have ownership and hold a mirror up to their own practice, and by doing that they have been able to engage and also celebrate what their successes are.
The impact of Iris on our pupil outcomes has been phenomenal. At the end of Key Stage 2, since 2019 to 2023, we've seen over a 20% increase in reading and writing. We now have children who are at more children at age-related expectation, which is phenomenal.
The biggest benefit of Iris Connect for us is that staff have been more reflective practitioners. They're able to review their lessons, reflect on them, and the added benefit of, if I don't want to share that lesson with anybody, I haven't got to share that lesson. And what we've had is, we've had staff say, do you know what, I've looked back at that lesson and I'm going to record it again, because instantly they've been reflective in that, and they're able to identify things that didn't go well, and they're able to pick up that and support themselves and move forward. We have the coaching sessions, which are really useful, so coach and coachee sit back and watch the video together.
Our coaches hone in on something really specific in that video and get the coachee to reflect on what they've done in that lesson, what their actions were, what the children did, what the outcome was, and really say, if you change that little part every time you teach, the impact of that will be dramatic over the course of 12 months, 2 years. So I feel like Iris Connect has really given us the power to really have a sharp focus on teaching and learning.
We've had lots of staff come and go, and being a large school, it's that bit of catching staff up with CPD and getting them on board, and it's trying to bridge the gaps that they're missing. We've got a group where staff showcase best practice, and that's shared between all the teachers. And it's that bit where we believe in team teaching and reflecting with each other and trying to refine our practice to get that consistency in every classroom.
So we've seen over the last 5 years a massive rise in attainment with our children, and we're in the business of children's attainment rising, so it's important that the coaching culture and Iris Connect is at the heart of that.
My vision for the future is for Hales Valley to have a bank of lesson studies that we can share widely, for staff to feel confident and empowered enough to want to share their recordings, for it to be used in inset day to develop others, to share our fantastic practice across our academies, and also to be proud of what they've achieved.
We're now building libraries of good practice and tapping into the great practice of others through the use of groups, so staff are now increasingly open to sharing footage with others. I think we're really creating a self-improving system for professional development, where it isn't just the leaders that are improving teaching and learning, it's the teachers themselves improving teaching and learning in their own classroom, but also wider than that by having an impact on their colleagues. And this has been a real key moment for us in our journey from being a good to an outstanding school. I think Iris is a superb vehicle to not only master the craft of teaching, but also capture the best practice and celebrate it. And I think when combined with high quality coaching, there's no limits to what staff and subsequently children can achieve.
It's fair to say we're a fan of Iris. So our three main challenges, and we faced lots of challenges over our journey, are all centred around consistency. And as the head teacher of a large 3-form entry primary school, consistency is key. And the words of a school improvement partner during a visit shortly after I became an assistant head teacher spring to mind. He sat me down and said, let's think about the beyond your classroom and those of your team. Alex, how do you know what's happening in the classroom next door? And since then, we've always asked our leaders and our teachers, what do we know, but also what do we think we know, and what are the links between those two elements? We've already shared our mantra about doesn't matter what colour uniform that the children wear, we want them to have the best quality of education, and that is our vision for our trust. So as schools and our trust, the first challenge is that shared language. And before we can address consistency in the quality of teaching, we feel that every teacher in Hales Valley schools need to speak the same language when it comes to teaching and learning, both in the classroom for the children and also in professional development sessions with staff. And then there's the additional challenge of how do you make it relevant for ECTs, but also experienced teachers of 20 years, because as we all know, experience doesn't necessarily mean that that's the best teacher. So we've got to make it relevant for all of our career stage. So as leaders, we spent considerable time developing a nuanced understanding of the quality of teaching across subjects, across phases, across year groups. And this has enabled us to consider focused actions for improvements with clear milestones and desired outcomes to drive continuous improvements in our schools and our trust. So that a year 6 teacher at primary school should be able to share best practice with a year 6 teacher at Lutley, and for us both to have a shared understanding and language. It doesn't mean that what works at one school or classroom will necessarily work in another, but it gives us a platform to have that discussion. So this approach needs to be across everything: our intent, our behaviour, the subjects we teach, the teaching approaches we adopt in the classroom, and also the professional development approaches we use, coaching, for example. This shared language fosters effective communication, collaboration, and understanding within schools and our trust, and it enables us to articulate ideas, facilitates information sharing, builds stronger social bonds between schools, and in our schools, a common language promotes working towards shared goals and improved decision making in the moment. And I think we draw the links there to what Chris said about that teacher agency, being able to make the best possible decision in that room while you're teaching. And it might not be the same decision as the person next door, because there's all those other factors of the different, 30 children you've got in front of you. So then when we have a shared understanding and language for teaching across subject of English, for example, or behaviour and attitudes, teachers in schools can work to ensure consistency of approach and equality of provision for their children. And then to overcome our third challenge of across our trust, staff can come together to develop together as year group colleagues, as phases, as leaders. The possibilities for collaboration increase significantly, enabling our trust to grow as other schools join the Hales Valley family. Iris has been integral as a vehicle to communicating this shared language during our relationship spanning over a decade. And we often ask ourselves, if we look through the window, what would we see happening? And Iris has provided us that window.
Thank you. As Alex said, one of the key challenges that I'm going to start with now is about the creation of this shared language across the trust. Not easy when your trust is constantly evolving, constantly growing, to maintain that consistency. And I use that word now with a bit of caution after what Chris said there. And when we talk about consistency, what we mean is we had a vision for this, that if we walk through the doors of any one of our schools, there would be a consistency and an understanding of what high quality teaching is. Our knowledge of that is always constantly adapting and changing over the years. Certainly the years that I've been in education, what high quality teaching was when I started to now has evolved and will continue to evolve. And we need a system and a process where we can continue to evolve our understanding with that. We want to know how to define quality teaching. We want to know how to describe it in detail, that universal language that can be used in our culture of continuous improvement, one that's based on an open and honest, one that's based on open and honest feedback and relentlessly pursuing what will make the most difference to children's learning and development. And it's really not an easy task, and we haven't found it easy. As Alex said, there are probably three of the biggest challenges that we're highlighting today, especially with the ever-increasing size of our trust, with the term used today of the jingle fallacy. Is that right? The jingle fallacy. Not heard that one before, but certainly something that we were looking to avoid. There was no loss in translation or misinterpretation as we went into each other's schools. We were talking the same language. So for people learning from our experience, we're going to talk about how we achieve this. And it's mainly through the development of our very own teacher skills builder. When teaching children, we often adopt a small steps approach by breaking down learning into smaller, more manageable steps. So why not do this for professionals as well? We began our journey towards ensuring that every teacher and teaching assistant could learn skills incrementally too. We aligned our efforts with the values of Hales Valley Trust, which are being resilient, resourceful, and respectful. And I can't tell you how valuable these three values have been to us through this process. We've had to go through many challenges, but this has certainly helped us to stick on the right path. These values have been the cornerstone of our approach, ensuring that we have a shared mindset on developing teaching and learning. And I've put a quote up there from Dylan William, which I'm not going to read to you, but this is a quote that our leaders leading on professional development, when we're talking about Iris, when we're talking about teacher walkthroughs that we'll talk through a little bit later as well, we start with this quote every single time. This is a cue from the staff in the school that I lead to know what I'm about to talk about is linked to our continuously improving mindset and our desire to be the best that we can be. A couple of years ago, some of my ECTs, they bought me an end of year gift the end of year gift was a t-shirt that had, I think it said walkthrough guru on it, because I kept talking about teacher walkthroughs. I interchanged that with my Iris t-shirt, and when I've got one of those on, sometimes they lead professional development and I don my t-shirt and they think, oh, here he comes again. I know what we're doing today. We're talking about this need to be continuously improving, this need to be not just be the best, not to be, I'm not good enough, but I can be better. There isn't a limit to what we can achieve. Later on, I'll talk about the impact of what this had as well. I really want to, there is no limit to what we can achieve is something I want you to hold on to that thought. So, I'll put our clicker down somewhere. Success for all. It's essential that teaching across our schools is right to ensure our children have the best possible chance. As a family of schools, to achieve our vision of trust, a success for all, we want to get it right, and we need professional development to be right in order to achieve that. We know that teachers engage in professional development whilst balancing multiple and at times competing commitments and time pressures. The need was clear, therefore, we needed a shared language and understanding so professional development could be well designed, selected and implemented. So this is a little snapshot. I'm not going to go through every part of this. I'm not going to show you the detail of this, but I want to introduce you to something that we've developed over a number of years, which is our Hales Valley Teaching Skills Builder. And this is designed as a framework to support and enable teacher development from the earliest stages through to the highest level of exemplary practice. It's underpinned by the principle of defining what quality teaching is and describing what it looks like. It's designed to support teachers and leaders to understand where they are in their practice and to enable professional progress in the craft of teaching by clearly setting out the next stage of development in teachers' practice. Malcolm Gladwell said that it takes 10,000 hours to master a complex skill. Our Teacher Skills Builder has many complex skills, each there to be mastered across a range of subjects, age ranges, and whilst overcoming many contextual barriers. So it's divided into 4 stages of development, which set out the likely progression of a teacher over the course of their career, attempting, foundational, proficient, and exemplary, and presented to staff as a rubric. I think there's been lots of talk recently about the semantics and words used to describe teachers through the Ofsted toolkit, through different number systems, colour systems. The words really are irrelevant. It is, where am I now? Where do I want to be? And how will I get there? Are some of the important questions that we would like teachers to be asking themselves. We hope that by working through this Teacher Skills Builder, we will end up with at least proficient teaching for all of our children across the Trust. We hope to have a huge number of exemplary teachers that are mastering the craft in many areas of our Teacher Skills Builder and showing practice that is worthy of imitation, worthy of other people seeing them teach, being in their environment and learning in their context how they're achieving success for all. As I said, there's many areas of the Teacher Skills Builder, and here are some of those categories of those. We talk about climate for learning, curriculum, planning and preparation, teaching and learning, assessing and reporting, and also professionalism, each divided into subcategories. We link this, of course, back to the language and understanding that was already familiar to our professionals in our settings. For example, Dr. Rice, that was already embedded, a universal understanding in which we can base some of our knowledge of what quality teaching looks like. The framework was intended to help leaders have professional development programs that draw on practice and coaching to build and sustain an effective team of teachers and support staff, including early career teachers, by drawing on explicit links to the early career framework. I mentioned about me donning my Tom Sherrington t-shirt every time I talk about walkthroughs. There's a lot of synergy between many things that we do to develop this consistent language and this quality teaching. So we have a codified rubric, our Teacher Skills Builder, but we also make links to Tom Sherrington's teacher walkthroughs, and Iris Connect has been an essential tool to create a coaching model that utilises this shared language whilst also integrating these walkthroughs. We've created a cluster of walkthroughs which teachers and teaching assistants can focus on to address learning needs in their school or our schools in general. We often focus on those persistent problems. Each of these walkthroughs is explicitly linked to our teacher skills builder. For example, if a professional wants to make the step from being proficient to exemplary in an area of the teacher skills builder, the professional can see a detailed definition of this, as well as a description of that small step, as well as teacher walkthroughs that will support them in their development. This is the second mention of a sweet spot today, I think that you will see. Our shared language through the Teacher Skills Builder rubric is most effective when combined with effective leadership and coaching. Because when these three are aligned, this is where the magic happens. And Alex is going to take you through more of this green circle, this coaching and facilitation, which is essential to taking that codified rubric, our Teacher Skills Builder, which clearly defines what quality teaching is, but also making that happen. Making teaching and learning, leadership management and coaching come together to have the best impact possible on our 7 schools.
So our culture is led by our CEO and DOE, and leaders study books such as Reconnect or Leaders Eat Last in professional book clubs. Our schema or our working models for coaching have been in development over many years. And with so many interpretations of what coaching is and an apparent confusion between coaching and mentoring, we found an approach and leaders have engaged in an extensive CPD through Levy and other sources to develop consistent understanding and language about coaching and its use for successful professional development. It is considered to be pure coaching, where the coachee, i.e. a teacher, for example, is in control of the content, the lesson that they're teaching, for example, or the problems that they're facing in their day-to-day experience in the classroom. And the coach is in control of the process. Support and challenge in equal measure through questioning, framing, discussion in a one-to-one basis or in triads. Coaches receive supervision and professional development to ensure there's an equality of provision for all staff. So just like we would like, how do you know what's happening in the classroom next door? As leaders, we're reflecting on how do you know what's happening in the coaching session next door? How do we know that staff are getting the same diet, whether they're at Lappor, whether they're at Lutley, whether they're at Priory? And the way we do that is coaches receive supervision and professional development to ensure that equality of provision. So we have built a culture of working to master the craft of teaching, acknowledging that it takes time to master and taking the time to celebrate with each and every member of staff through our structured coaching process. It's built in. By sharing their practice with others through Iris, we develop exemplary teachers, those worthy of imitation. And it's all based on those small tweaks to transform. Simon Sinek in the book Leaders Eat Last talks about how all organisations need to build a circle of safety in order for them to be successful. So where staff feel this, they thrive. If our staff thrive, then so do our children. At Hales Valley, building a successful culture and ethos of quality professional development is based on trust. Our trust in each other, which radiates out from our CEO and DOE, our trust in our approach, our trust in our schemas, and also the schemas of others when we need to borrow them to develop our own. Our trust in the circle of safety is built within each school and therefore in our trust. And as leaders, we have developed highly effective learning culture in which staff take responsibility for their professional learning and are keen to continually improve on their expertise by drawing on the practice of others. Our circle of safety is strong because at the core, when a member of staff records their teaching on Iris, they're doing so willingly, knowing the value and safe in the knowledge that they don't have to share it unless they choose to. They choose to because they know that they will be able to learn through a quality coaching conversation. Iris enables this conversation to be quality by providing a platform for reflection by both the coachee and the coach before the conversation even starts, so that when they come together, the focus is sharp, it's solution focused, and it's a safe place to be challenged. Coaches lead their conversation having chosen a tangible way forward that's realistic, it's repeatable, and likely over time to show positive impact on pupil outcomes. Staff buy-in enables coaches to signpost others who may be working on the same way forward, or those who have secured it to encourage collaboration between colleagues through paired observations, sharing of videos on Iris, or further paired or triad coaching sessions to help further professional development. This culture did not happen overnight, and it's been years in the making. But as leaders in the trust, we have role modelled the process by sharing our own teaching videos and reflections.
Thank you. So we're at a bit of a crossroads at the moment. We've got a choice to make here. We could just continue with what we're doing at the moment. It's working, it's really established. Across our 7 schools, we have this universal language. We are improving teaching and learning incrementally every single day. We could do that. We're not going to do that. I think we're faced with a bit of a choice at the moment where we are going to move forward with this. We aren't going to continue to do what we've always done. We are going to explore the possibilities offered by AI because being resourceful is what it's all about, being at Hales Valley. So we're constantly seeking new ways to solve problems and overcome challenges, and therefore we're exploring AI insights with Iris. And I think that Alex and I were both there when we were first shown AI Insights. We were there with some of the senior leaders across our trust, and I know lots of you will have seen that before. And around the room was that sharp intake of breath of like, oh, wow, show me that again. And I think that we could continue to do that, but we need to explore these different opportunities, these different avenues. This is me there walking down the road, thinking about which is right for our school. We're currently working with Iris at the moment to help define that path, to carve that new path for our trust. Because if used safely, effectively, and with the right infrastructure in place, AI can ensure that every child and young person, regardless of their background, is able to achieve at school and develop the knowledge and the skills they need for life. AI has the power to transform education by helping teachers focus on what they do best, teaching. So by continuing to record, we've got 2 options here. I'm going to take the left path first. By continuing to record our lessons, this will save time and money on lesson cover and enable staff to see their classroom from a new perspective. We aren't going to rely on memory or the availability of colleagues. At the click of a button, AI Insights could give us analysis of a lesson based on a selected area of development, and we would take that from our Teacher Skills Builder and highlight areas needed that person may want or need to improve. Teachers can then get AI lesson feedback. Staff can then share their recording easily to engage in coaching, and we've already got a very clearly well-established coaching culture within our trust, and use the time link comments to help support that and make that even more efficient. For this shift in how we might use technology to tap into the vast potential of our AI, we've put out a plea to those willing to take us into this next phase. Now, at the very start of this journey, we were joking earlier with Jenny. We were saying, I remember when we first got our first Iris kit. We were trying to work out over 10 years ago, and we just started to have a play. In hindsight, when I think back to that, the people that put us in that room to have a play were very clever, because what they thought of is, we've got a vision, we've seen this, we've got an idea, this could really improve teaching and learning. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a few people together to trial this, to feel safe using it. And it reminds me of the video that you may have seen in other forms of professional development where someone starts dancing in the field, and all of a sudden someone else joins them. Well, we were 2 of the first people to start dancing with our CEO and our Director of Education, because we thought there's something in this. So what we've done is we've kickstarted that culture again, and we've put a kind of a plea out to our staff to say, is there anyone willing to try something new? Now, what's great about our trust is there are lots of people willing to try something new. That's because they feel safe in the choices that we've made so far and the development that they've already have. So those brave souls have put themselves forward, and they want to be part of our early adopters. They believe in the vision and the potential of AI. They'll be our advocates, just like around about 12 years ago, when some staff, including both Alex and I, recorded their first lesson using the Iris kit. It feels a little bit like that all over again. We need people from a range of roles who will join us. It's no good just choosing senior leaders who may already be part of this journey and feel very invested in it. We want to make sure we have people representing different parts of our schools in our very diverse trust. This next chapter of a journey will be complex and a learning curve for us all, but with the potential to solve more challenges, most certainly worth exploring. So that was the left path. We've got another one on offer at the moment. There are ready-made AI insights on Iris Connect, which will probably suit most settings as a starting point. However, in collaboration with Iris, we're looking at custom AI insights for our trust, where we will experiment with more advanced features of AI, using our custom rubric, so our teacher skills builder, as our cornerstone for this, for automated lesson analysis. Imagine how powerful it would be for us to not only look at trends and themes for professional development at an individual school level, but also a trust level, so that we can collaborate and support each other with common themes, all whilst retaining that confidentiality and that feeling of safety at an individual staff level. By looking at pairing and grouping schools or tailoring professional development across multiple schools, it will not only be more cost effective, but gather those with a common focus to utilise and build their shared language. And I was really excited by the idea that Chris posed earlier about this professional development ladder, about that increasing difficulty, increasing expertise. It may be those common themes can be solved by things like those professional development ladders that may combine groups of people who are choosing to climb the ladder that is most suited for them. You'll have to forgive us for being a little bit self-indulgent with this slide, but it is worth celebrating. So for us, creating a shared language and being determined to get teaching right has been achievable due to our work with Iris, giving us the vehicle we needed to achieve sustainable impact on our school community. So this is taken from our Trust's most recent Ofsted inspection. So I mentioned about one thing that we all try and achieve as best as possible is success for all. So this is taken from Lutley Primary School's most recent Ofsted report. This is where Alex is head teacher at the moment. Strong shared values are realised as a result of the school's drive to ensure no pupil or member of staff working at the school is left behind. Now, that most certainly sounds like success for all. We're getting somewhere with that. One of the keys to that has been relentlessly pursuing that belief that we can be even better every single day. So thank you for listening to our presentation.